The judicial system of India is unique in the world in its own ways. Although most part of it was borrowed from British legal system, the uniqueness of Indian society, along with rapidly growing population and ever-evolving constitution, compelled the changes in judicial system as well. Different courts were introduced at different levels. One of such courts which is truly for the people is Lok Adalat. Judicial system in India, overburdened and slow. Words like these are interchangeably used with judiciary. Rapidly growing population and growing number of disputes along with more educated populace and constantly evolving laws and constitution forced India to innovate and experiment with its judiciary. For some it is more hassle. For some it is innovative, for some it is jugadu, but for some these changes are nothing less than a miracle in an otherwise slow and seldom late system. One such miracle in Indian judiciary is Lok Adalat. Simply translated to People's Court. Empowered with the powers of civil court, it is a court that can actually issue a decree which is binding and final, granted if the parties involved will come to a compromise or a settlement.
I am happy to learn that the order to reduce the pressure on courts and to reduce pendency, the court has encouraged the mediation process and pre-litigation Lok Adalats. Results have been encouraging. I am told Lok Adalats in 2016-17 alone could settle around 11 lakh cases involving around rupees 400 crores.
First ever such Lok Adalat was held in 1982 in Gujarat. Motivation was to provide the people, especially those in weaker sections of society who can't afford to pay the legal fees or even the court fees, with an opportunity of free and fair trials. And aim was to reduce the burden of the civil cases and give the speedy trial with a binding verdict. Surely the experiment was successful, as the program was replicated throughout the country on all levels of judicial system from district court to Supreme Court. Structure of the court is also different when we speak of Lok Adalat. With an aim of dispute settlement and conciliation, compromise and arbitration, Lok Adalat is constituted of a chairman who has to be either a sitting or retired judicial officer and up to 2 other members who are either a lawyer or a social worker or expert in their respective field. The term Lok Adalat, meaning People's Court, is taken so seriously by the judiciary that one can see the seriousness of it in design and layout of the court. Where in the regular courtrooms the judge sit on the top behind his bench, which is mostly elevated, in Lok Adalat judges sit on the same bench as the people and lawyers whose cases is being heard. The significance of this sitting arrangement alone is enough to guess the seriousness of judiciary in functioning of Lok Adalat. So what exactly is Lok Adalat and how is it so special? A According to National Legal Service Authority, Lok Adalat is one of the alternative dispute redressal mechanisms. It is the forum where disputes, cases pending in the court of law or at the pre-litigation stage are settled, compromised amicably.
In any democratic setup, democratic system, basic purpose is to resolve the dispute in a legal frame. Broadly, there are two ways. One is the court annex system, where after consideration of everything, courts decide the matter on its merits. Second is alternative dispute resolution outside the court. There are many methods like mediation, arbitration, conciliation, Lok Adalat for alternative dispute resolution, and these are also governed by the law in India. Under Legal Service Authority Act, there is a provision for holding the Lok Adalat. And Lok Adalats are being conducted throughout the nation at different levels by the courts.
As the vision was to reduce the pending cases, Lok Adalat were introduced to accept the cases that are pending in regular court or are in a pre-litigation stage. It does not accept the cases directly, meaning one cannot approach the Lok Adalat directly. The case has to be pre-existing in a regular court. Then, in some places, the litigants are suggested to settle the case or their dispute through Lok Adalat. In other cases, the litigant can approach the state or district legal service authority for his case to be referred to Lok Adalat. To simply put, Lok Adalat is a platform cum tool for dispute resolution.
There are broader two categories of cases. Civil cases, all civil cases are coming, and then criminal compoundable cases. So we are taking both category of cases, and then we are taking cases which are pending in the courts and referred by the courts, and then pre-litigative matters. So pre-litigative cases of insurance companies, banks, financial institutions, or even of individuals. So they are listed in Lok Adalat. Matrimonial cases are also being listed, and then Lok Adalat in Delhi at least. We are organizing in many tribunals also, like district consumer forms, state consumer form, then national consumer form, administrative tribunals, and in other tribunals also, we are taking up these matters. Two categories of cases may be taken up in Lok Adalat. First category is court annexed Lok Adalat, means where cases are pending before the courts and courts refer it to the Lok Adalat. Second is pre-litigative Lok Adalat. Pre-litigative cases means the cases which has potential to become a dispute, legal dispute, but which has still not been filed in the courts. So before going to the court also, matters may be brought in the Lok Adalat.
Lok Adalats have been given statutory status under Legal Service Authorities Act 1987. Under the said Act, the decision of Lok Adalat is deemed to be a decree of a civil court and is final and binding on all parties. No appeals can be made against this decree. Although there is no provision for an appeal against Lok Adalat's verdict, the unsatisfied litigants are free to initiate litigation by approaching the court of appropriate jurisdiction and filing a case by following the required procedure in exercise of their right to litigate. It is basically like starting over the case again in another appropriate court, which in itself is discouraging, as the new case can also take extended period of time to get resolved. And it is possible that litigants decide to approach the Lok Adalat at courts level again, and not to mention the cost of litigation and the lawyers is strain in itself. So usually the decision is accepted by the people and followed through. This whole system of binding verdict makes Lok Adalat more powerful than a regular court at that level. Lok Adalats are conducted at different stages of judiciary from the top to the TALUK level. At TALUK level, the Lok Adalat is conducted by TALUK Legal Service Committee. The bench comprises of a sitting or retired judicial officer and a legal professional or a social worker. This composition of bench is pretty much the same at all levels of Lok Adalat. TALUK level Lok Adalat has a power similar to all the Lok Adalats. The verdict awarded on the case brought before this bench is final and binding. TALUK level Lok Adalat gets its funding largely from State Legal Services Authority. Lok Adalat is conducted by District Legal Service Authority. Similar to TALUK level Lok Adalat, the bench comprises of a sitting or retired judicial officer and a legal professional or a social worker. This composition of bench is pretty much the same at all levels of Lok Adalat. The powers of district level Lok Adalat are similar to all the Lok Adalats. The verdict awarded on the case brought before this bench is also final and binding. The State Legal Service Authority also contribute to district level Lok Adalat's funding. The Lok Adalat is conducted by the High Court Legal Service Committee. The bench comprises of a sitting or retired judge of a High Court and a legal professional or social worker, or both. Powers of High Court level Lok Adalat is also similar to all other Lok Adalats, as the verdict here is also final and binding. State Legal Service Authority also provides funding for this Lok Adalat. At state level, Lok Adalat is conducted by State Legal Service Authority. The bench comprises of a sitting or retired judicial officer or a sitting or retired High Court judge and a legal professional or a social worker, or both. At state level, similar to all the Lok Adalats, the verdict awarded on the case brought before this court is final and binding. Here the funding comes from National Legal Service Authority, and in some cases the contributions are made by state as well. Apart from levels of Lok Adalat, there are different types of Lok Adalat as well. The National Lok Adalat consists of Lok Adalats from Supreme Court to TALUK levels, justifying the word national in its name, as it involves the whole nation. Its key features include National Lok Adalat are conducted every alternate month, usually on the second Saturday, all together at the same time. To keep things systematic, the cases in Adalats are on a specific subject matter, with few exceptions or additions. The other type of Lok Adalat is called Permanent Lok Adalat. It is organized under Section 22B of the Legal Service Authorities Act 1987. Permanent Lok Adalat is set up as a permanent body with a chairman and 2 members. It is there for providing compulsory pre-litigative mechanism for conciliation and settlement of cases relating to public utility services like transport, postal and telegraph. In Permanent Lok Adalat, even if the parties fail to reach a settlement, the Permanent Lok Adalat gets the jurisdiction to decide the dispute, provided the dispute does not relate to any offence. The judgment here is also final and binding, as there is no provision for appeal. The jurisdiction of Permanent Lok Adalat is up to 10 lakhs.
In Lok Adalat, matters are decided by the consent of the parties, by way of a settlement, and it has the force of a civil decree under the law. But in Permanent Lok Adalats, there are a category of Permanent Lok Adalats also under the law, under 1987 Act. Under Permanent Lok Adalat, there is a provision that if parties are not at a settlement and there is a element of settlement, that after hearing the parties, the bench of permanent Lok Adalat may pass a verdict also. Under the law against the settlement of the Lok Adalat, there is no provision for appeal. It is not a appealable settlement, but a writ may be filed.
Regular Lok Adalats are rare and not necessarily conducted all over the country. Regular Lok Adalats are another type of Lok Adalat. Regular Lok Adalats consists of continuous Lok Adalat, daily Lok Adalat, mobile Lok Adalat, and lastly, mega Lok Adalat. According to National Legal Service Authority, continuous Lok Adalat bench sits continuously for a set number of days to facilitate settlements by deferring unsettled matters to next date. It also encourages parties to reflect on the terms of mutually accepted settlement. Daily Lok Adalat is organized on regular basis, but is very rare. It depends on state to state and case to case basis. As the name suggests, it is a Lok Adalat set up in a multi-utility van, which makes this a mobile court. It is set up for resolving petty cases and also spreading legal awareness in the area. Mega Lok Adalat is organized in the state on single day in all courts of the state. Other than judges and litigants, there is another extremely important community in legal system: the lawyers. Lok Adalat generates a mixed views among the lawyers, depending on who you ask. Some are feeling the heat as their business is taking the hit, but at the same time happy about the process and speedy disposal of cases.
लोक अदालत से लोगों को बेनिफिट है, जो लोक अदालत के जो लिटिगेंट हैं, जो न्याय से चाहते हैं, तो उनका केस जल्दी डिस्पोजल हो जाता है, और जो केस कंपाउंडेबल होते हैं, जिसमें मतलब ऑफेंस कम होती है, उस ऑफेंस कम होने के वजह से जज साहब उसमें भेज देते हैं और वो कंपाउंड करके दोनों पार्टी एग्री होती है तो वो डिस्पोज कर देते हैं मामूली फाइन करके। तो लिटिगेंट्स को बहुत फ़ायदा है और सोसाइटी में ये अच्छा मैसेज जा रहा है लोक अदालत के लिए। हमारा बिजनेस तो वो हार्म हो रहा है, क्योंकि केस रहेगा तो हमारे पास क्लाइंट आएंगे, केस डिस्पोज हो जाएगा तो वो क्लाइंट हमारे पास और काहे के लिए आएगा, उसका केस तो ख़त्म हो गया लोक अदालत से।
On the other hand, some lawyers do acknowledge the impact on their business. They are also eager to defer more and more cases to Lok Adalat, as it satisfies the clients with minimum hassle, and in return they can spend more time on the cases which requires their more attention.
लोक अदालत में मेरे बहुत सारे मैटर चलते हैं और यहाँ पे बहुत जल्दी उसका मतलब सॉल्व भी होता है, रिलीफ भी मिल जाता है। अब क्या है कि अब कोर्ट में डेट पे डेट पड़ रही है, बहुत सारे कोर्ट में अभी तो पता ही है कि कितने जजेस की कमी है अभी, तो यहाँ पे क्या है कि आपको बहुत जल्दी रिलीफ मिल जाता है। पहले तो अलग बात होती थी, अब तो हम लोग कोशिश करते हैं मैटर जितना जल्दी जल्दी सॉर्ट आउट हो जाए। इसलिए हम लोग अपने क्लाइंट को पहले से बोल के रखते हैं कि इस महीने में सेकेंड सैटरडे को लोक अदालत लग रही है और इस दिन आप तैयार रहना। कोर्ट में हम लोग उसको अलाउ करवा करके उसको रेफ़र करवाते हैं लोक अदालत में। तो बेनिफिट तो कस्टमर के लिए भी है, जो भी क्लाइंट है उनको बेनिफिट तो मिल ही रहा है, साथ ही साथ हमारे पास जो केस है उसका भी वर्कलोड कम हो जाता है।
In spite of everything, the positive impact of Lok Adalat on whole community and the country is undeniable. A long and tiresome process of dealing with the lawyers and the court, and a stuck feeling that almost all litigants experience in the regular court, without any hope of quick resolution. Lok Adalats try to address these exact issues faced by the people acquainted with the judicial system.
I think it has a very deep impact on the society. it helps people to resolve their disputes amicably. So it is not about winning and losing. So it brings an end to the litigation for all times to come. When you win a case in a court, then one of the parties would not be satisfied. So there is a possibility of appeal. But here when people come, one is that they get an outcome of their own choice. Impact on judicial system is, one, I said that because no appeal goes, so it unclogs the system for all times to come. Otherwise, if one court decides, then it clogs the next level, then it goes to the next level. But here it comes to an end. So this way it reduces the burden of judiciary, and it also brings about happiness and harmony amongst people.
Lok Adalat had been very successful throughout country, and with confidence I may say, if you will go into the data of last 10 years, 15 years or 20 years of Delhi, you will see that lakhs of cases has been settled in Lok Adalat. So in every Lok Adalat, around 15,000 to 20,000 matters are being settled. Settlement of 50,000 matters in a day means what? Suppose there is a pendency of 3,000 cases in a court and 15,000 cases are settled, meaning thereby in a day the work of 5 courts is being disposed of.
The impact of Lok Adalat can easily be realized by looking at the numbers of the cases it resolved. Total number of Lok Adalats organized all over India on September 8, 2018, that is just one day, is 9,982. Total number of cases taken up that day are 42,71,135. Total number of cases that were disposed of were 10,54,811. These staggering numbers, which are more than the population of some European countries, paint a picture as to why Lok Adalats are now an integral part of our judicial system. These are the numbers just from one day of Lok Adalat. Think about the numbers from one calendar year. Now imagine Indian judicial system without Lok Adalats. The burden of cases on the regular courts will keep on piling up. The chaos will be unquantifiable. These numbers are in spite of an awareness about Lok Adalat. Now imagine the digits when everybody is aware of this minute reform in Indian judiciary called Lok Adalat. While you quantify that, let me take my leave. This is Kushan Patel signing off.